Kamen Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dustin Rider here with my review of the Deluxe Nebula Steam Gun, or the Nebula Steam Gun, or whatever you want to call it, just Nebula, Cetus Lapidus, all that stuff. It's a Xenon gun. That's weird. I don't know why I decided to make a Xenon reference. But anyway, this is a repaint slash some slight remolding of the regular Trans Steam Gun. With some different sounds, obviously, and it's like quite simplistic on its own for the most part, but there's like quite a lot to show around it, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to go into too much details about the box, because that's only kind of when I want to point out something super cool, and you can just sort of see from, you know, the general camera shot that it's got cool art on the front. As for what you get it, alright guys, I'm out, I quit, I can't do this anymore, no, I'm kidding. As for what you get with it, other than itself, is these two bottles. That pretty much sums it up, to be honest. I mean, they're very different than your normal bottles, like any of the kinds we've been getting, be it the crocodile one for Rogue, or standard bottles. They're basically just, I mean, all of them are pure plastic, but these don't shake. They're just kind of hollow, light plastic. There's nothing in the middle to shake, no thing to twist, no electronics. They're really, really basic. Almost like the bargain version. Like, as you can see, just one piece of plastic and one strip of paint. Very basic. Same thing for this one, representing the Gear Brothers. I'm not a huge fan of these, to be honest. Like, I get their purpose, I like a lot of their concept and the sounds, but design-wise, I wish there was a little something more exciting about them. As for the gun, it does look kind of cheap, although I do dig the color scheme of it. I like the purple and gold, I think it works well, but it looks like if Ivan Ooze had a sidearm. And it looks fine, and like I said, I like the core design, but it just does look a little cheap. Here it is next to its original recipe counterpart. As you can see, like, you know, they're the same thing. Like, it's the same exact thing, not bigger or smaller, just a slight redesign. And honestly, both of them kind of look cheap. I mean, you can just tell. I think there's just something about the more simplicity of the black and silver colors that doesn't jump out at you as much, that makes it seem a little less cheap looking. It's not like horrendously cheap like Bandai America bike figure cheap, but just not as cool or like, I don't, expensive isn't the right word, but just, you know, professional as it could look. Like where you get something and you're like, wow, this was really worth it. All right. There's the on-off sounds. It's worth noting, I honestly cannot remember if I mentioned this in my original Trans Steam Gun, and I apologize if I didn't, but this actually requires 3 batteries. Like right here, you'll put 2 AAAs, and then there's one up here, which is kind of redonk to me, to be honest. Like, this is a tiny little gun. Like, I've had much larger weapons with more robust sound that didn't require 3. There's probably some sort of sciencey reason why that's the case, but I cannot figure it out. I cannot. Okay, let's go ahead and go with the individual sounds first. And then it'll just do the same sound. Alright, so to let it go, there's a release button here, just like there was on the other one. I kind of dig that sound. It sounds like some sort of like dialing phone riff. And then there is the match mode where you'll put one in after the other. So let's check that out. And you can go the other way as well, like using this one first. So you get the gist there. Okay. Okay, just to show off what it does when like a regular bottle is in, like basically almost any other, you know, regular full bottle. I used Rose for that, obviously, if you couldn't tell. Same thing for like what I have here is Bat for the classic one. And the same thing if you use a splash jelly thing. You'll get that type of bit. Last thing I believe to show off pertaining to this specifically is that it can indeed combine with the saber or the Trans Steam Blade or whatever. In a basically identical manner to the original recipe one because, you know, it's the same exact thing. So that's super easy. So this part you attach on the back, doesn't give you any kind of confirmation, it's kind of a dead fish. And this one though, I did not mean to do that. But let me see, just zoom out a smidge there. But yeah, that's neat. I appreciate that you can do that. It adds playability, especially if you already had this. I've always liked this combo. It's satisfying to put together. It makes it a pretty nice size. I do kind of prefer the way the other one flows together, but still, it's nice. I'm just going to show off one of the attack combos because it's basically just variations I don't deem enough to like waste your time with. And you can add that in. Wait, this part. But yeah, so that's cool. You can do any combos you want. Release right there, and release right there. I'm going to turn that off because it keeps getting me in trouble, and that is uber annoying. Okay, so now we will show off some of the driver-related functionality. I'm just going to kind of clear a little space here. Let's do the build driver first. And show the functionality with the two individual gears. Where's the other one? Oh, it's in here. Just putting them in together as a set. Just getting a little better set up there. All right. Okay, now we can do the attack noise, even though it's nothing uber special.
Ready, go! Protect, attack!
Alright, now these do have some best matches you can do depending on what stuff you have. For example, alright, and then we also have the crocodile bottle to go with the other one. Nope. Maybe I should do it the right way. That might work. Maybe. Maybe. Alright, and then before we get into the last bit, which is showing it off in the Splash Driver, the use of Crocodile is a good segue into using that in the Steam Gun, which makes sense because he's the other primary user of this besides the Gear Brothers. Alright, and that is exactly it for that. So if you have that, I kind of wish it almost just came as an all-inclusive set that included all three of those instead of an individual release, but it's whatever. Okay, lastly, I believe, I almost feel like I'm going to forget something because there's so many different things to show off, and that doesn't want to stay up, and it's embarrassing me live on camera. We're live here. Shh, don't tell them we're not live. Alright, now this one, or the other one rather. But yeah, that's pretty much about the it for this thing and most of its functions. There's a couple things I didn't show completely, but I just kind of showed most of the stuff that I deemed worthy of showing off. But overall, this is a neat little release. It's not my personal favorite thing. I kind of prefer some things about the original Trans Steam release, but there is things I like about it. I like the sounds for the most part. I'm not a huge fan of the inclusion of the funky phrase, which is a really weird thing to say in a review. Nothing, even just the toys, but the show as well. Like, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan. But I do like how much playability it adds if you have a lot of other stuff in the build line. Like, if you're like me and have collected even somewhat close to the stuff I have by now, you have a lot of different options, which is really nice. So while it's not my personal favorite, and I think it's a little bit weaker in some cases, like I'm not a huge fan of these, I think it adds a lot of different variety depending on what you own. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. DX Rider, signing out.